Welcome to Yoga District. My name's Carlyn, and today we're going to talk about the 3 warrior poses, Virabhadrasana 1, 2, and 3. Let's start at the top of the mat for warrior 1. Find Tadasana or mountain pose. Feet are hips width distance apart, about the space of 2 of your own fists. Rounding through all 4 corners of both feet, lifting the inner arches slightly. Your belly button is pulling in towards your spine. Your tailbone is tucking towards the ground. Shoulders are relaxed down the back. And find a slight tuck of the chin so the ears are directly over the shoulders. Bring your hands to your hips and step your left foot back about 3.5 feet. The length of your stance might be a little bit longer or shorter than mine, depending on the height and the length of your legs. We'll start from the ground up, pressing firmly into the heel of the right foot and the pinky edge side of the left foot. Notice that my right toes are facing forward and my left toes are at a 45-degree angle, so they're facing the top left corner of the mat. Your right knee is stacked directly above your right ankle. Think about pressing into the left foot and sending your left shin back in space so that back leg is straight and strong. Now, keeping the hands at the hips, find your 2 big hip bones. We want them to be in the same plane, both horizontally and vertically, in warrior 1. So using your hands to give yourself a little self-adjust, you might gently pull the right hip back and feel the left hip wrap forward. This way, both of your hip joints are facing the top of the mat. Once you find this nice strong stance in the legs and this evenness in the hips, pull the belly button in and up to activate the core and feel your tailbone continuing to reach towards the ground, taking any sort of back bend out of this pose. Your shoulders will be stacked over your hips. You might reach the fingertips to the sky. You can keep a bend in the elbows or spiral the pinkies in towards one another to naturally relax the shoulders down your back. We don't want them hiking up towards our ears. In the fullest expression of warrior 1, you might eventually bring your palms to touch and take your gaze forward or maybe up to your thumbs. When you find what your warrior 1 looks like today, hold for about 5 breaths. Make them smooth, even, soft. Just breathe. So for warrior 2, we're going to start at a wide stance with the toes facing the long edge of the mat. So here, our hips are open towards the long edge of the mat or the front of the room. You're going to turn your right toes 90 degrees so the right toes face the top of the mat or the short edge of the mat. You can keep your back foot parallel to the long edge of the mat, or if it feels better, it might turn in slightly, but not that full 45-degree turn like we found for our warrior 1. So notice here, before we even set up, that your hips are nice and open. You're pressing firmly through the pinky edge side of the left foot and the heel of the right foot. Even weight. Take a peek at your toes and make sure you can see your big toe and your second toe. Not only do we want our right knee to be stacked above our right ankle, we also want our right knee to be tracking towards the pinky edge side of the right foot. Depending on the openness in your hips and your groin, the depth of your pose here might not be knee stacked over ankle, as long as your knee is not going past your ankle. Find what feels good. Keep those hips nice and open. Shoulders are stacked directly over the hips. And for more activation in the inner thighs, you'll want to think about squeezing the inner arch of the left foot and the heel of the right foot together as if they would eventually touch. And you'll feel that light up your inner thighs. Now bring your arms to a T, keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. You can stay here, open shoulders, open hips, or if it feels okay in the neck and the shoulders, you might take your gaze or your drishti over your right middle finger. When you find this powerful warrior 2 pose, take smooth, even breaths and feel strong. Virabhadrasana 3, or warrior 3, is a strong balancing pose. So we're going to start in the middle of the mat so we have plenty of space. We'll talk about 2 entry points for Warrior 3. Remember, the hips are still internally rotated. Bring the feet hips distance apart, about the space of 2 fists in between them. And we'll start on the right side. So ground firmly through all 4 corners of the right foot. Both sides of the heel, the center of the heel, the big toe, and the pinky toe. Nice and strong core, straight and strong legs. And as you firm into the right foot, start to bring a flex into the left foot, a really strong flex, so that your left foot actually comes to hover a couple inches above the mat. From here, you can bring your hands to your hips, or you can bring your hands to heart center. We're going to take a sort of pendulum swing to come into this Warrior 3 balancing pose. So as you slowly send the torso forward, hinging at the hips, you will send your back foot back at the same rate. Squeeze the inner thighs together, and eventually, your left foot might come in line with the left hip. Keeping the hands at heart center. Again, torso is parallel to the mat. Left foot is strongly flexed, and you're spinning those left toes down. So the pinky toe on the left foot should be facing the mat so that the hips are internally rotated and again in one plane with one another. Use your core to find your balance here. To come out of this, you might take a slight bend in the right knee and bring the left foot down to meet the right. For the second entry point for Warrior 3, I'll take it on the other leg. So I'm facing the back of my mat now, but you can also face the front of your mat. Bring your feet hips distance apart. And this time, we're going to start from a folded position to use our hands to get our balance. So come forward, tenting the fingertips or pressing the palms all the way down, whatever feels better, about 6 inches in front of the feet. Even as we're in this forward fold, we want the belly button to be pulling in and up. Keep your gaze in between the hands so your neck is nice and long. Ground firmly through all 4 corners of the left foot. And keeping your hands on the ground, you'll start to send the right foot behind you. Focus on squeezing the inner thighs together, flexing the right foot, and spiraling the right pinky toe this time to face down towards the mat so we're not opening up that right hip. Once you find your balance, your right foot might be at about hip height. You can take a micro bend in the left knee, press firmly through all 4 corners of the left foot, engage the core, and maybe you slowly start to remove your fingers from the mat. Eventually, they might come to heart center. Take a couple breaths here, active through the core, torso is parallel to the mat. We're kind of in the shape of a capital T here. You have options with your arms. You can take a little up dog in the chest and airplane the arms, sending the fingertips back towards the right heel, finding a little bit of opening in the chest. This creates a little bit of a back bend in this pose. To keep the back bend out of it, you'll either keep your hands at heart center, or for the fullest expression of Warrior 3, you might bring your arms out in front of you like you're holding a beach ball. When you find your balance, just breathe.